So we spent the last week here at the East KOA here in Asheville, and it's fall weather. As you can see, the leaves are changing, so it's leaf season, and we got to spend like the peak. Well, I think we're still in the peak, but we're like in that midst of that season here in Asheville, in North Carolina, in this beautiful weather.
Okay, so what cities are nearby?
Well, you've got the main hub of Asheville, which is like 15 minutes away.
Charlotte is 2 hours away.
Yep.
And Knoxville is 2 hours away as well.
Yes.
By the way, we're still in the Eastern time zone, and the elevation here is 2,195 feet.
Okay.
So it's not that high, but it's not ground level either, so you get a little bit of a feel for the mountains, and it's definitely a little bit cooler up here compared to if you were 2,000 feet lower.
Yeah.
The campground is a Campgrounds of America, aka KOA. It's a holiday, and I actually looked up what that means, because there's a difference between a KOA journey, a KOA holiday, and a KOA resort. So KOA journey is just kind of like a stopover place when you're on the road. A KOA holiday is kind of like a vacation spot.
Oh.
Yeah, because I always wonder what the differences were. And then a resort is like you're in the, it's like a resort style, so you really don't leave.
We were here a week and we saw a lot of people not leave their campsite and just enjoying everything that's happening around. I mean, this place is gorgeous. This is probably one of the best KOAs that I've been to.
This is the biggest KOA we've stayed at. And it has a bunch of like loops and sections and a campsite for every type of camper that there is. There's RV sites with full hookups and 50 amp and sewer. There's primitive tent sites with nothing, and there's everything in between pretty much. But yeah, there's definitely some really nice bodies of water that you can camp in front of. Behind us over here is some of the RV sites, and some of the cabins are also located along the lake. So that's a really good spot to check out. This campground is open year-round. I don't recommend camping here in a tent in the winter. So check-in time here starts at 3 p.m. and checkout time is at noon. That's also a little bit later than some of the other places that we've stayed at. The campground office is open from 9 a.m. until 8 p.m. at night, so you could go ahead and stop in and get whatever supplies like firewood or a drink.
We didn't really go to the camp office to buy anything. Just by glancing, they had stuff that you can make s'mores, they had firewood, they had like the basic drinks and snacks, hats and t-shirts.
So when you come in, there's the campground office, there's a 4-way ping pong table, an outdoor patio, a covered patio, an arcade, horseshoe pits, cornhole courts, this other game that I had never heard of, Gaga Ball or something like that.
Yeah, like a little pet area too. You had bathrooms up at the front area.
The pool, but the pool's closed right now because it's cold.
You had a kid's playground. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that you can do. You can go walking. They have a couple hiking paths. At the front office, you can go and rent bicycles. They have different styles of bicycles. They have kayaks and little paddle boards that you can rent as well.
You could fish in this lake.
Yeah, we have people fishing.
So our camping area in particular was towards the back of the property, so it was away from the interstate. Really dark, really quiet back there. I liked it. And it was up on a hill.
Yeah.
Water, we had some city water, some tap water. I think most of the campsites on that loop have electrical. We shared ours with our neighbor, but there was 4 outlets, so it was plenty.
So we had our own.
The only thing I would say is that the electrical outlet is a little bit far away from probably where you're going to pitch your tent. So just make sure you have a decent length extension cord, because I don't think 25 feet will cut it.
No, a minimum 50 feet just to be safe.
Our campsite, which was T4, was pretty level in the spot that we set up our tent. I mean, most of the campsites were level. One towards the front kind of looked like it slanted a little bit more because I was at the edge of the hill and coming downhill. But as you get further back, it's more level. But we didn't have a problem. We didn't like roll over in bed in the middle of the night and fall off. There were no rocks or roots or anything in our campsite that made it hard to set up the tent. We had a nice area where it was flat and clear and no pine cones or anything like that. As for the soil condition, it was soft enough that I could get my tent stakes in without too much work. How's the picnic table?
Yeah, it was sturdy. It was like good. You could get in it easily. That's like one of the best things. But yeah, there was one there at each site. so you could cook off of and work off of and put all your stuff on it.
Yeah. So the fire pit, we had one at our campsite. It just wasn't the best fire pit in the world. It was an old wheel rim that got converted into like a fire pit. Turned on it, you know, turn it sideways and you just keep it contained in there. So it's good because ash doesn't fly around as much that way, but also it's kind of hard to get the air in to start the fire. The other thing too is that there's no grill on top, like built into it. So if you're thinking of cook on the stove top to make coffee or something like that, or a quesadilla for your skillet, either you're gonna have to bring your own grill or a tripod to cook over it.
Not a whole lot of privacy from campsite to campsite right next to each other. They were pretty like thin, but they were long, luckily. Just have to rearrange your tent in a certain angle so you can create your own privacy, but yeah. Yeah,
it's not like some of the state parks that we stayed at in Florida. There's like bushes in between campsites, or you're completely enclosed on 3 sides. Yeah. I think most KOAs are like that too, that they don't really, they want to maximize the use of their space as much as they can. But with that being said, the campsite itself has been one of the more spacious ones. We have plenty of space to put our 10x17 tent on there and park the car right in front of it without it sticking onto the road, and also have our bikes right next to it and kind of move around and have the fire pit and the chair set up. So yeah, they're, you know, your neighbor's right next to you, but within your own little space, you got plenty of space.
There was tons of shade. There were probably 2 or 3 trees on each site. Plenty of shade during the day. All the sites, all the tent sites on top of that hill, no sun would get through. Maybe a couple times during the day when you were working.
I remember specifically at 11:20 in the morning the sun would come down, and like at 1 in the afternoon because there were gaps in the canopy, but that would be about it. In the back of the campground, it's not really noisy. You could hear the interstate a little bit, but it's not like, you know, gonna keep you up at night. It was pretty quiet back there most of the time. The only thing that was kind of noisy was when a train would go by. There are some railroad tracks that are actively used over here, and I think I would hear maybe 3 trains a day go by, and it's not, they don't have a noise ordinance of don't blow your horn going through town, so they're coming through and they're going choo choo. It definitely wasn't like when we camped at Flamingo and we had those guys playing that music, and you know,
definitely wasn't that bad.
So no, noise is, it's very peaceful, and you really don't have to worry about noise out here.
It got pretty dark at night. Besides, it was a full moon week here, so you did get light from that, but there was no street lamps, no street lights, nothing like that really keeping you awake. Yeah,
I would say that the campground overall, it gets pretty dark at night. The only spot that maybe has some lights is around the campground office, just for after hours check-in. And a couple of things maybe around the lake of people with the cabins with the lights on. But that's it. Take your headlamp when you go to the bathroom, because it's pretty dark when you're going back to your campsite. There's only one light in that area, and it's on the bathroom building, and as you get further away, you know, it's moonlight and whatever light you brought with you. So
3 sections of bathrooms. One at the front, there's one kind of like right when you get across the Swannanoa River,
next to the dump station,
there's one near the top of the tent site. For the most part, it was cleaned every day. They had plenty of toilet paper, and the hot water got really hot, and
the shower heads were working well. Not that it really applies for us because we're in a tent and we use the facilities, but if you are in an RV and you need somewhere to dump your waste, there is a dump station here. We have a suspicion that there's a laundry place on site. In case we're wrong, there's a laundromat down the street, correct?
Coin Laundry. Coin Laundry.
Coin Laundry. So if you need to do laundry, you're going to be okay. The internet was phenomenal here. I'm not going to lie. This has been the best campground in terms of serving up Wi-Fi and having a good speed. So many moons ago, I actually used to work as a wireless network engineer, assistant type of person. And I was walking around and I'm looking and I was like, I see a lot of wireless repeater towers. There's like 4 of them. Pretty much the whole campsite is covered in wireless. There's point-to-point Wi-Fi, and then each little Wi-Fi antenna has directional antennas, and this might be a little bit too technical for the video, but let's just say that there's really good coverage. You're gonna get speeds of 40 to 50 megabits per second, which is more than enough to take your meetings and video conferences and, you know, log in and do whatever type of work you need to do, as well as if you want to stream Netflix, because we're watching Squid Game at night. It wasn't buffering, it wasn't slow, it wasn't pixelated.
Nothing.
It was great. We have Verizon. Our Verizon coverage was almost full strength. So there's that available as well in case you have a hotspot, and that's kind of how you work. I really appreciate that they made a lot of investments in upgrading their wireless and having a good infrastructure for that.
A lot of the wildlife here, you see geese, you see mallard ducks, you've got squirrels, you've got birds, you've got cats randomly walking around.
And they might snatch a squirrel and have it for dinner.
Yep,
we saw that.
I randomly found a piece of croissant and I'm like, I'm gonna give this to the ducks. And they knew, like right when before I even tossed it to them, they're like, they just came over and So
they definitely associate humans with food.
Yeah.
People feed them. We also got the geese that are not afraid of people, which in most cases I say they fly off, but not these.
Or attack you, but they like were lining on both sides of the trail and we just walked right through.
As for pests, the only pests that were bothering us was that bee.
Yeah.
They wouldn't leave you alone.
No.
We saw spiders putting on shows for us at night on the ceiling of the tent on the outside.
Daddy long legs.
Some thicker ones that were not daddy long legs. I don't know what they were. I probably saw like 3 different species of spider. So if you don't like spiders, this is not the place for you.
It is October 23rd?
23rd.
Yes. And we've been here for a week. During the days, the highs would be like in the low to mid 70s, and then the lows at night and in the morning would be into the high 30s, low 40s, so it does get really cold.
It was mostly sunny while we were here. There were some days where the clouds kind of rolled in briefly and it dropped the temperature quite a bit, so it was kind of not the best to work outside when that was going on, but for the most part it was pretty good.
Yeah, we had one night of rain, but it really wasn't like torrential rain. This upcoming week though, there's lots of rain,
so we gotta get out of this area.
We gotta figure out what we're gonna do. We still don't really know what we're gonna do, but
we never do.
I know. Which is kind of fun.
Where are you guys going next? We don't know. We're not kidding.
Really don't. Primarily I did all of the grocery shopping and shopping at Ingles. There's one in Swannanoa.
It's not Ingles.
No, it's not Ingles, it's Ingles.
When I saw this market, because I speak Spanish, and I was like, Ingles, which is Spanish for English. And then Jessica's like, I think that's Ingles. And I was like, oh, that makes a lot more sense.
But for those who live in the South, it's very similar to like a Publix. But no, they have Ingles. They have one in Swannanoa. They have one in Black Mountain.
Major retailers are in Asheville, so you're going to find your Walmart, you're going to find your Target. There's also REI.
Yes.
There's Dick's Sporting Goods.
Yes.
There's Sportsman Warehouse that we've been into one, but they have camping stuff in there as well. So there's Asheville nearby. So what can you do in Asheville?
Oh boy, there's lots of stuff you can do in Asheville. There's tons of places that you can eat, to fine dining, to tons of breweries. Asheville is very known for its like energy, so there's lots of like crystal shops.
Wait. Before we get into that.
What?
Apparently Asheville has the most breweries per capita of any city in the United States.
Yes.
So if you are a beer fan, this is the place you want to come out and visit.
There's a ley line that runs through Asheville. Asheville's on top of a crystal quartz quarry. So there's a lot of like new age shops here. There was a drum circle happening last night. I feel like a lot of people flock to this area just for its beauty, its location, the energy with the hiking and the mountains and the national forests and the state parks and the camping and the leaves. Like, this is a place to be, especially in the fall season. Like, it's just gorgeous.
Other things that are in the area, there's Mount Mitchell State Park, which is the highest peak east of the Mississippi. And Chimney Rock State Park is not too far away from here, which is another nice rock formation to go visit and climb on. So yeah, Catawba Falls is nearby. It's like, oh, we're going to Catawba Falls, and then apparently that's like a really nice place to go hiking, because a lot of our friends on Instagram were like, oh, I love that place. Oh my god, amazing waterfall. And it's like, oh, this is a thing. When you get to the waterfall, it is bananas. People are all bunched up there and people don't want to step in the water, so you gotta like wait. It's almost like a line to take a picture in front of the waterfall, and sometimes depending on what angle you're at, someone's gonna be in your way.
And there's only so much room to walk, and there's a lot of people, so yeah, it's like a lot of like trying to maneuver, and are you going? Like, who's next? Like, it's just a lot of just waiting around.
Just be prepared for crowds and crowding at the top. Definitely worth it though. So it's like 1 mile up and 1 mile back. Not a very difficult trail, pretty easy. If you're looking to go to national parks in the area or national monuments or anything that's national pretty much, there is the Great Smoky Mountains National Park, which is 1 hour over the mountains on your way to Knoxville and Gatlinburg and Pigeon Forge and Seaverville and that whole area over there. So the Appalachian Trail runs through here, and there's lots of trailheads for interconnected trails, so you could get on that for a little bit. What is the terminus around here is for the Blue Ridge Parkway.
Yeah.
So the Blue Ridge Parkway terminates here in Asheville, and it goes for, I think, like 453 miles I read. Okay, so let's talk about cost real quick. So for our tent site, I think it was a standard tent site is what they called it, that has water and electrical. Before our KOA rewards discount, it averaged out to $52 a night. Then after our KOA rewards discount was applied, it was rounded up to $47 a night. So it saved us a little bit of money. I think it's like 10% or something like that that we get, and that's good for a year. We signed up for it when we stayed at the Davie Fort Lauderdale KOA, and came in handy. Saved us 30 bucks.
It's cheaper than a hotel. I can tell you that right now.
It's cheaper than a hotel. And there are different rates based on the night, it looks like. During the week, I think it's cheaper, and then towards the weekend, it's probably a little bit more expensive. So to reserve, we have the KOA app installed on our phone, and we reserved our campsite that way. But you can also go online to the KOA website and check their availability. And there's some wind coming, but you could also call them on the phone. Would you stay here, or what'd you think? Would you stay here again?
I would definitely stay here again. I loved it. I loved the nature aspect of it. I liked how clean it was. I liked the location. I liked it. I'll be back.
But definitely this one is really nice. Like, you know, these lakes and the mountains in the background, and you know, everything was just really nice. We really enjoyed our stay here. I enjoyed the Wi-Fi here because that's what I worry about. The electricity and Wi-Fi is what I worry about the most. I could put up with the cold and, you know, other challenges, but luckily that the Wi-Fi and electrical situation was a-okay. Especially if you've watched our
at KOA.
A-okay at KOA. Everything was a-okay at KOA. So
we're nerds, it's okay.
But also KOA staff, if you're watching this video, you guys are doing a great job. Thanks for everything that you do. 2 thumbs up for you guys. Thank you all 63 subscribers. We appreciate each and every one of you. We've had some comments lately, and I kind of like went back and forth. People are asking questions. I'm like, you know, giving some advice and tips and info, which, you know, that's kind of who I am. So thank you guys. We appreciate the comments. Please leave some on this video if you have questions, and I'll reply to them when I get a chance.
If you want to get in direct contact with us, you can on Facebook and Instagram at The Vamos Life. All
right, guys. As usual, we got places to go, things to do, so we got to hit the road. But if you enjoyed this video, as Jessica said, like, share, and subscribe. And we look forward to talking with all you. And thanks for watching. Bye.
Bye.